What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica. It's Tuesday, full moon today. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody is well. On my way to where I need to go. Go ahead and like, subscribe, comment. Let me know you stopped by. How's Mercury treating everybody? Hope everybody is, well, staying relaxed, staying out of the way. What I've noticed is so crazy is what I've noticed is an influx of fight videos that I have been seeing, that has been coming into my realm. So many people, we are, I don't know what it is. I attribute it to Mercury because it's the planet of communication. So therefore, during this time, there's a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of miscommunication, you know what? It just reminds me of Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell, and it's a book that I want to read, and it talks about how we relate to each other and how we determine people's moods and how they respond to things based on what we see on TV, where we associate actual emotions with the actual physical expression of the emotion. So like being sad, you see somebody always smiling, you don't think that they're sad, right? You want to see the sadness. Someone who's happy, you want to see them, smile. Somebody who's done something wrong may respond with a smile. So, or someone who is nervous may respond with a smile, and how we misconstrue that, and it can lead to misunderstandings, and often sometimes, it could all be fatal as well. And so what I've noticed just over the past week and a half is that a lot of fight videos are being broadcasted, and people are talking about the fight videos and what's going on. Like, a lot of the stuff is happening at these fast food restaurants where people are, acting out in anger. I don't know. I have no clue where that comes from. And let me tell you something. It's not a specific demographic. This is just humans behaving badly, and so I've noticed a lot of fight videos during Mercury retrograde. The little boy in school who slapped the boy for calling him the F word. He slapped, when I tell you, the ancestors of Marsha P. Johnson, they slapped that boy, slapped him. And then, the lady who called the food service worker a nigga, and he broke almost all her bone, talking about. See, that's the thing with the consequence. I don't agree. I do not agree with people fighting. I just don't agree with it. Even this thing with like all this stuff about fighting is coming up, and I attribute it to Mercury being in retrograde, and we're seeing it a lot. The food service workers, I don't know why people get disrespectful with food service workers. It says a lot about your character and your personality. I think even with servers in restaurants, when people are rude, you're a certain kind of person to be disrespectful and rude to somebody giving you your food. Like, you have to be a special kind of nigga to not think that something could possibly go wrong with your food, because you are so rude and you're so disrespectful and you're so entitled, and you go into these food service places and you're expecting something that these people have no control over. All they can do is give you the food that's there, ask you for your money to pay for it, put it in a bag, put some napkins in the bag, and send you on your way. They don't have anything to do with the supply. They don't have anything to do with that. And so when you act out in anger and over food, I don't, that is something that I do not understand at all. I don't understand it at all. There's no traffic on the freeway at all. And everybody's been fighting, so I attribute it to Mercury. So I've been feeling a lot of aggression myself, and I'm trying to stay away from people because I just am feeling anxious and aggravated and just annoyed, so whatever. So speaking of fights, Monique Samuels and Candiace, what's Candiace? Dillard. Candiace's last name is Dillard. It's been reported that Monique is being charged with second-degree assault for slamming, I don't want to use the word slamming, it might not have been a slam, but for slamming Candiace's head on the table. And the rumor is that Candiace threw a drink at Monique. I'm trying to figure out, I thought they were trying to get past their, I'm trying to figure out what could have happened. What did Candiace say or do for Monique to finally be like, you know what? I'm going to physically harm you. I have lost control and I'm going to hurt you. So the drink thrown in the face, is it an equal retaliation? You can't judge how somebody is going to retaliate once you do something to them. You can't both can be held accountable, but you can't be mad because you threw a drink and got your head slammed. What are you going to do? What's really odd to me is the response to this and how people are saying they stand with Monique. What could you have aligned yourself with Monique to the point where it reminds me of Portia and Kenya? You align yourself so much with this character or this personality type that you don't, sight unseen, story untold, details nowhere to be found. You're going to stand with the person who has actually been charged with assault, trying to figure out a way to rationalize it by saying she asked for it. Drag me, Monique, right? Because Monique is always talking about dragging people. So what she's doing is saying, drag me, Monique. Drag me. And so everybody keeps saying, well, she asked to be dragged. She asked to be dragged. I stand with Monique. I stand with Monique. How about you don't stand with either of them? How about you say, bitch, you was wrong, and bitch, you was wrong? What is with this binary attitude when it comes to these people on television? Like the thing with Kenya and Portia. Kenya deserved it because she was loud in that girl's face, and that's how that girl reacted. Again, you cannot tell somebody how to react, right? Same thing with Kenya and Portia. Kenya was in Portia's face, hollering and screaming, you're a hoe, you're a whore, you're a hoe, you're a hoe. And Kenya got dragged. Like, that was a literal dragging. But the praise that Portia received as a result of taking down the so-called villain of the show, because what she did was just so wrong. But both of them were wrong. Neither one of them were right. It's possible in the case where two people get into an altercation that both of them are wrong. You don't have to pick a side. You can hold each party equally accountable for their actions. Now, people keep saying, oh, Monique, you're a mother. That they do the same thing with Cardi B. Didn't I tell you society judges women based on your ability? The first thing they come after you for is your ability to mother. The second thing they come after you for is your ability to keep a motherfucking man. So here we are telling Monique, you're a mother. Listen, lady, you don't know how people are going to react. You don't know she's triggered by that. Maybe she had a drink thrown in her face before. and it triggered her and she flipped out. That's why you need to leave people alone. Candiace needs to leave people alone. Monique needs to leave people alone. Keep your goddamn hands off of people. At a certain point, like I was watching Love and Hip Hop last night. At a certain point, you're going to have to say, listen, self-control. I was watching Love and Hip Hop last night, and there's a scene where Zale and Paris walk into a club or something, and Apple is there. And Apple's like, ooh, let me breathe. Breathe. You mean to tell me, bitch, you don't have no self-control that when the bitch that did not throw a drink on you, but threw a drink on somebody else, and the liquid, which flies, and you don't have any control of where the liquid goes, gets on you, and you switch it up to support your out of control behavior. You say that the drink was thrown on you so that you can act out with a lack of self-control. I'm not standing with anybody. Don't throw a goddamn drink in my face. And don't slam people's heads in the damn table or snatch their weaves or whatever. I need to know, I myself, that's how I feel today. I need to know the story. I don't understand how anybody's like, I stand with Monique. You don't know what the fuck Monique did. What if she, I know that everybody is okay because we can see them in the internet, right? They posting pictures and stuff. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Monique, I've been telling you that girl she's not operating from an authentic space at all. So when you walking around spaces acting like you're not who you are, and somebody does something to you and you reveal to the world who you are, I can't wait to actually find out the details of this situation, because I want to see what the fuck happened and who needs to be held accountable. But they're both wrong today, to me. And obviously, Candiace was hurt enough for them to take on the charge, to charge Monique. They charged Portia. You don't get to hit people and not be charged. That's an assault. So I heard that throwing a drink in somebody's face was assault too, but I'm not too sure about that. I don't know the definition of throwing a drink in somebody's face can be defined as an assault, but I've heard that it is. Anyway, I'm done talking about that. Instagram has taken away it's taking away the likes in the United States market, and other states or other countries have already started taking away likes, and a lot of people are upset because they're influencers, and influencers are paid based on the engagement, how many likes you get, how much you drive traffic to the product that you're promoting. That's how they get paid. And if people can't see that people are liking what you're promoting, how is that going to basically how can I get sheep to buy into my shit? And basically it's saying you like it, so I'm gonna like it. Oh, how many people like it? 5 people like it, so maybe I should like it, right? So that's what it basically says. How many likes you got, how well you can influence is determined on how many likes you got and how much traffic you drive to the product that you're advertising. However, getting deeper than that, our junior high school kids from the ages of and elementary, because I've seen kids in elementary school with social media, access to social media. Now, social media doesn't have a filter on it, an age-appropriate filter on it. So when you give a child whose brain hasn't developed in any capacity, we know the brain stops developing in terms of decision-making 25 years old. That's when it stops. So what you're doing, because at 10 to 14 years old, you're allowing girls and boys access to a world that they can't wrap their head around. And they are responding to it in a negative way. It's causing harm to our children. So while you may think you're losing money, our youth is being affected by social media. And part of those is likes, how much someone likes you, right? You can turn comments off. I heard Cardi B complaining. Ironically, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj both are complaining about the removal of likes because both are two women who feed off of that kind of energy, right? That's how Cardi B started. So she started on social media. So that's her. You can turn the comments off now if you don't want people to leave nasty comments, right? Because kids leave the boy that wanted the other boy to stop calling him the F word, the shit started on social media. And he found out he was being called the F word and brought it to school. And knocked that boy out. And when I tell you, he slapped him. He slapped the hell out of him, but it came from social media. He was responding to something that happened on social media. If these kids, so, you know, a lot of people talk about bullying. Bullying is one of the things, right? Bullying is one of the things. Yes, bullying has always occurred. Bullying has always been, because that's how people learn how we socialize and how we relate. There are people who are going to try you. There are people who are developing their personality traits. And this happens in junior high school, right? How to relate to other girls, how to relate to boys. Whatever your identity is, you still have to relate to boys and girls, right? I'm not talking about in a romantic level. I'm just talking about how do we relate to each other? I'm coming in contact with this personality type. How do I respond to this? I'm coming in contact with this personality type. How do I respond to this? They're learning that in school. And bullying happens in school. But guess what? When you come home and your kids are the bullying travels from a physical to digital. Okay? The likes are gone in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Ireland, Italy, and Brazil. And the problem is that it's affecting our youth, okay? 10 to 14. In the past 10 years, social media use by minors has risen significantly due to an increase of smartphone usage, with 24% of adolescents reporting being continuously connected to the internet, and half of the adolescents reporting being addicted to their phone. Nearly 81% of American teenagers use social media, and this spans through the United States of America. It's not black kids, it's not white kids, it's not Latin kids, it's not Asian kids, not Indian kids, it's all of them. Increasing rates of suicide attempts may be the canary in the coal mine, signaling important health concerns arising from the increase and pervasive use of social media affecting child and adolescent development. Suicide rates increased in both groups, boys and girls, since 2007. When did social media start getting popular? 2007. With a significant increase seen specifically in younger females. The trend is noted throughout all parts of the United States. This is why they're getting rid of likes. How are little girls socialized? Now, you're raising girls and boys to relate to each other. This is when they start liking, figuring out who they like, what they like, right? Right? Okay? You remember in elementary school, you remember the little boy you liked or the little girl you liked? You remember? So your kids aren't any different. But now guess what? There's images of these women. I'm seeing women. Now the boys and the little girls have access to both of these images of Instagram models and women who are not her, whose bodies are, one, not real, two, not and because they're not real, the body shape is you're incapable of achieving that body type unless you go have surgery. Now these little girls see the little boys liking this. So now they're like, wait a minute, I don't have big tits. I don't have a small waist. I don't have a big butt. But you got boys and girls looking at the same images. Now the little girls or the little boys are saying, this is what the girls like. This is what the boys like. I need to be like this. It is affecting our youth. And I don't understand, all these anti-capitalists are just like, it's messing up my money. You don't care about the children. You don't care about who it's affecting. That's why they're being taken away. And if you are an influencer making your money off of social media, off of Instagram, you make your money off of Instagram, you can pay to have your likes shown. You can afford it. So that's the reason why. One of the reasons why. It is affecting our youth. It affects adults. It affects adults, young women, girls in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. How many people, and I kept saying, when I used to be on Facebook, I used to say, so many people are into health and fitness now because they know that their bodies they can show their bodies. Now more people have access to the way they look. Now it's about what you look like. What you look like. Instagram is a place of pictures, not of words. It's a place of pictures. And people are now more visible, so now they are taking care of their bodies more, changing their bodies more. You ask a plastic surgeon or someone who does reconstructive surgery how much their business has spiked in the last 10 years. Ask them in the last 7 years. So while we think that, oh my God, I can't make money, honey, you can still make money. Pay Instagram a monthly fee so that your likes can be shown, so that you can still influence. And are you influencing? What are you doing? What kind of influencing are you doing? If it's affecting our children, what kind of influence are you doing if it's affecting our children? That's real. This is awful. And I want you guys to hear this, how it does affect. And it's affecting girls the most because we are socializing little girls to perform in order for boys to like them. Right? We are making it seem like you have to look this way in order to be chosen, to be picked, for someone to like you. Instead of teaching them you need to be kind and compassionate and smart to be able to hold a conversation. That's what you learn. You should not learn that your body should look a certain way so that you can get attention from someone. Or you should have these certain shoes or this certain piece of jewelry to get attention from somebody. So it's more than just your money, honey. It's our children. The future.
You're raising your kids here. What's your policy on letting them out?
Man, it's slippery.
How old is your oldest?
We're pretty selective about the parents, but
nowhere.
And it hits. We're looking at these charts right now, and folks who are just listening, it's like a jump ramp for a BMX racer. Yeah. I mean, it really is crazy for women.
Out of nowhere.
And it hits at 2012. It goes on a very sharp upward angle.
Right. It goes from less than 6% to almost 15% in the space of 4 years.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. You can't say that. That's my.
Can't say crazy?
Can't say crazy.
What can I say? Fucking nuts? Can I say that?
No, because some people might have a nut allergy.
Oh boy. Ludicrous,
it's
preposterous,
how about just frightening? It's really frightening. It's
terrifying.
Really frightening. Yeah. Okay. And so this has huge ramifications. Now let me just make clear, I think, do we have another slide there? Bring up the next one. Okay, so some people say, oh, come on, you guys are catastrophizing. The increase isn't real. It's just that, this generation, they're really comfortable talking about mental illness. And so the fact that they say they're depressed just means they're comfortable. It doesn't mean that there's an epidemic. Okay?
I've heard this argument that it's just an argument of recognition rather than of...
Perfectly reasonable. That's right. Diagnostic criteria change. Perfectly reasonable argument. Is it true? Well, let's look at behavior. So what this graph shows is the number of boys out of 100,000 who are admitted to a hospital every year because they deliberately harmed themselves to the point where they had to be hospitalized. And what you see here is that there's no change over time. So boys, these graphs from 2001 to 2015, the lines are flat for all the different age groups. And just notice that the highest rates are around 280 out of 100,000 per year. That's the situation for boys. Next graph. Bang. The situation for girls is really, really different. So the averages are higher. So self-harm has always been more of a girl thing than a boy thing. Boys are...
Except for suicide.
Exactly. We'll get to that. That's right. That's next. So if we look at self-harm, what you see here is that the rates were fairly stable up until 2009. And then, bang, just as in the last slick
social media,
the rates for girls go shooting up. So the rate for 15 to 19-year-old girls is up 62% since 2009. Now notice the rate for the millennials, that is the rate for the oldest girls, age 20 to 24, that's only up 17%. So whatever happened, it's not affecting the millennials, it's affecting Gen Z. I think, wait, is there one, hit the advanced key because I think there's one number missing there. Okay, I'll just, no, go forward. Okay, the number, there it is. The rate for the youngest girls, check that out. Now the youngest girls, these are 10 to 14-year-old girls. These are preteens, okay? They didn't used to cut themselves. They used to have very low rates. But bang, beginning in 2010, it shoots up. It's up 189%. It has nearly tripled in the last 5 or 6 years.
What's the cause?
We don't know for sure, but the reason why, so because of the huge sex difference, the leading candidate and the timing, look at that timing, is social media. So if you look at what happened in this country and all around the world, Facebook opens up to the world in 2006. You don't have to be a college student, but very few teenagers have a Facebook account in 2006. 2007, the iPhone comes out, but it's very expensive and very few teenagers have one. By 2010, 2011, around half of American teenagers have an iPhone or Samsung. They have a smartphone and they have access to social media in middle school. Because even though for Facebook and Instagram, I think the minimum age is and was 13, my son is 12, a lot of his friends have Instagram, you just lie. So middle school kids are now getting on social media. By 2010, 2011, you've got a lot of them. And that's what I think is the main cause of this, because social media does not really affect boys very much, but man, does it affect girls.
Why is that?
So if you look at, a couple reasons. First, look at the nature of aggression within the sexes. Boys, bullying is physical. Okay, boys are physically dominating, and then the risk is that they're going to get punched. Okay, so you give everybody an iPhone. What do they do with it? Games and porn. They don't use it to hurt each other.
Boys, you're saying?
Boys, that's right. It doesn't affect their bullying. But girls' aggression, girls are actually as aggressive as boys. There's research from the 80s and 90s on this. If you include relational aggression, girls don't bully each other by threatening to punch each other in the face. Girls bully each other by damaging the other girl's social relationships. Spreading rumors, spreading lies.
How many times do I tell you guys? Social status, spreading rumors.
And so it's
here we go.
Really
listen.
To be in middle school.
Listen.
The other girls' social relationships. Spreading rumors, spreading lies, spreading a doctored photograph, saying bad things, excluding them. It's relational aggression. And so it's always been really hard to be a middle school student. It's always been harder to be a middle school girl than a middle school boy, okay? So beginning around 2010, 2011, we throw in this brand new thing into the mix. Okay, girls, here's this beautiful thing in your hand, and here's all these programs where you can damage anyone's social relationships any time of the day or night with deniability from an anonymous account. Go at it, girls. And so the nature of girls' bullying is hypercharged by social media and smartphones. That's one mechanism. The other two mechanisms are the social comparison, because it's always been hard to be a teen girl emerging with beauty standards and impossible beauty standards. And when we were kids, you had impossible beauty standards that these models were all doctored up and then Photoshop. Okay, so you've got these impossible beauty standards out there. But beginning with social media, especially in recent years, your own friends can put on a filter on Instagram to make their lips bigger, their skin cleaner, their eyes bigger. So your own friends are more beautiful than they are in real life. You feel uglier. So that's the social comparison of beauty. And then probably the biggest single one is the fear of missing out, the fear of being left out. So all kids are subject to this. Everyone's concerned about whether they're included or whether they're excluded.
So this is why part of the reason why Instagram is taking away the likes. Not to take away your money, honey, but to save our future. Okay? So I hope this was educational for you all. I hope that you guys start talking about it more and how it affects our youth, the boys and the girls. And you see it's affecting the girls more because we live in a society where the girls have to meet impossible standards of beauty in order to what? Attract a counterpart. That's my time, y'all. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Peace.